Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Learning Stethoscope. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the heart's conduction system, the built-in electrical network that keeps your heart beating in a perfectly timed rhythm. Let's get started. This is a diagram of the human heart. We have the right atrium here, the right ventricle below it, the left atrium on this side, and the left ventricle just beneath. These are the four chambers of the heart, and blood flows through them in a carefully coordinated sequence before leaving the heart to supply the body. The process starts with the atria contracting, a phase known as atrial systole. This pushes blood through the atrioventricular valves into the ventricles. Next, there's a brief delay, and then the ventricles contract. This is called ventricular systole. The contraction forces blood out of the heart, from the right ventricle into the pulmonary artery, and from the left ventricle into the aorta. But how do the atria and ventricles know when to contract, and in the correct order? That's where the cardiac conduction system comes in. The heart's conduction system is a network of specialized pacemaker and conducting cells that generate and transmit electrical impulses. These impulses coordinate the heartbeat, causing the atria to contract first, followed by the ventricles. Think of it as the heart's internal pacemaker and wiring system. It all starts in the sinoatrial node, also called the SA node, located in the upper wall of the right atrium, near where the superior vena cava enters. The SA node is remarkable because its cells can spontaneously depolarize. They generate impulses on their own, without any external signal. That's why the SA node is known as the natural pacemaker of the heart. It's responsible for setting the heart rate, firing about 60 to 100 times per minute. Once the SA node fires, the electrical impulses rapidly spread throughout the right atrium, depolarizing it and causing it to contract. Then the electrical impulse reaches the left atrium through a specialized pathway called the Bachmann's bundle, which is a thin band of conducting fibers that acts like a highway crossing the atrial septum and connecting the right and left atria. This allows the impulse to quickly reach the left atrium, depolarizing its cells and causing it to contract. Because this happens so quickly, both atria contract nearly simultaneously, pushing blood into the ventricles. After this, the electrical signal travels through other bands of tissue that also act as highways. These are called the internodal pathways. We have the anterior, middle, and posterior internodal pathways, and they are responsible for carrying impulses from the SA node to the atrioventricular node, or AV node, located in the interatrial septum, near the opening of the coronary sinus and the tricuspid valve. And the AV node plays a very important role. Because conduction through the AV node is slow, it delays the electrical signal by about 0.1 seconds, 100 milliseconds, before sending it to the ventricles. This delay is crucial. It allows the atria to finish contracting and for the ventricles to fully fill with blood. Without this delay, the atria and ventricles might contract at the same time, pushing blood against each other and reducing cardiac efficiency. Now, between the atria and ventricles, there is a layer of fibrous connective tissue, part of the cardiac skeleton. This acts as an electrical insulator, preventing impulses from passing directly from the atria to the ventricles. So, the only pathway through which the signal can travel from atria to ventricles is the bundle of His, located in the interventricular septum. From the AV node, the impulse travels down the bundle of His, which is composed of high-speed conduction fibers. This bundle quickly splits into two branches along the interventricular septum. The right bundle branch, which travels down the right side and carries the impulse to the right ventricle. The left bundle branch, which travels down the left side and carries the impulse to the left ventricle. Since the left ventricle is larger and more muscular, the left bundle branch is also larger. When the septum depolarizes, it does so from left to right. The left bundle branch also divides into two main fascicles. The anterior fascicle, which runs toward the anterolateral wall of the left ventricle. The posterior fascicle, which supplies the posterior and inferior portions of the left ventricle. Once both bundle branches reach the apex of the heart, they turn upwards toward the base. As the electrical impulses travel through these branches, they enter the Purkinje fibers, an extensive network of highly specialized, fast-conducting cells that spread throughout the ventricular myocardium. Purkinje fibers conduct impulses faster than any other part of the system. They ensure the entire ventricular myocardium contracts simultaneously and efficiently, starting from the apex and moving upward. This apex-to-base contraction helps eject blood into the pulmonary trunk and the aorta. Let's make a quick recap. The SA node, located in the right atrium, initiates the electrical impulse. It's the heart's natural pacemaker and spreads the depolarization wave to the right atrium. Meanwhile, a special pathway called Bachmann's bundle carries the impulse from the right atrium to the left atrium, ensuring both atria contract together. The signal then spreads through internodal pathways in the right atrium. These are anterior, middle, and posterior internodal tracts, guiding the impulse toward the AV node. At the AV node, the impulse slows down briefly. This delay allows the ventricles to fully fill with blood. Then, the impulse travels down the bundle of His, which acts as the only electrical connection between the atria and ventricles. The signal splits into the right and left bundle branches, moving down each side of the interventricular septum. Finally, the impulse reaches the Purkinje fibers, spreading rapidly through the ventricular myocardium, causing a coordinated and forceful contraction of both ventricles. Now, while the SA node is the primary pacemaker and normally fires at 60 to 100 beats per minute, it's not the only one. Other parts of the conduction system also have pacemaker capabilities. Think of this as the body's backup system. So, if the SA node fails to fire after a short pause, another pacemaker takes over to maintain heart function. The AV node has an intrinsic rate of 40 to 60 beats per minute. The bundle of His has a rate of 40 to 60 beats per minute. And the Purkinje fibers have a rate of 20 to 40 beats per minute. We can see that the further down the conduction system we go, the slower the pacemaker rate. So this means that if the SA node fires normally, it suppresses the other pacemakers and sets the heart rate to 60 to 100 beats per minute. But if the SA node fails to fire, then the AV node steps up and fires. But if the AV node also fails to discharge, then the bundle of His fires. And finally, if the bundle of His fails, the Purkinje cells that have a backup rate of 20 to 40 beats per minute. And that's the heart's built-in backup system. Cool, right? These electrical impulses can be detected using surface electrocardiography, or EKG. The EKG measures the heart's electrical activity. And there are 5 important waves: P, Q, R, S, and T. These represent the depolarization and repolarization of the atria and ventricles. The P wave represents atrial depolarization, starting at the SA node. The PR interval represents the passage of the electrical impulse through the AV node, so it represents the delay between atrial and ventricle depolarization. Then the QRS complex, that reflects the rapid ventricular depolarization via the His-Purkinje system. And finally, the T wave, or ventricular repolarization. Note that atrial repolarization is not seen in the EKG because it's hiding behind the QRS complex. So, if there's a problem in the conduction system, we can see it on the EKG. And there you have it, the conduction system of the heart. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the Learning Stethoscope grow and keeps these lessons coming. See you next time.